let's start with this second panel of the conference, of the International Micro-Air Vehicle Conference. I'm very happy to have these former general chairs of the previous IMAVs and also a deputy chair. So thank you to all of you for making the effort to be here and share with the community your experience and what is behind of this of the organization of this event. So I will start by introducing each one of you. I will introduce again Guido. Guido presented yesterday. He delivered his keynote presentation, which I think was a great presentation. If you missed the presentation, you can go to the social networks on Facebook and YouTube. You will find the links of these social networks on the official website, imap2021.inaue.mx. At the bottom, you will find the links and you can see Guido's talk again. But very briefly, I can say that Guido is a full professor in bio-inspired micro-air vehicles in the Department of Aerospace Engineering at the Delft University of Technology. And Guido has, his team has won several competitions, drone competitions. And if I remember correctly, Guido, you were one of the first, or your team was one of the first teams to compete in the autonomous drone racing when it was organized in 2016 for the first time in the IEEE Aeros conference. And more recently, you won, your team won the Alpha Pilot competition organized by Lockheed Martin and the Drone Racing League. So I think those achievements speak a lot about your work. And of course, I think you will share a bit more of that, even if it's panel presentation. So we also have the participation of Jean-Marc Moschetta. He's a professor of, and Guido, of course, was the former chair. He's the former chair of the IMAV 2014, that was held in Delft in the Netherlands in 2014. Also, we have with us Jean-Marc Moschetta. He is a professor of aerodynamics at ISAE-SUPAERO in Toulouse, France. And he is the director of the Micro Air Vehicle Research Center. Since 2000, he has devoted his research activity to rotary wing and fixed wing drones, including aerodynamics design, energy harvesting techniques, transitioning vehicles, quiet propellers, and recently, Dr. Moschetta has started the development of an hydrogen-powered fixed-wing UAV for flying over the Atlantic Ocean with low carbon emissions. So thank you, Professor, for being here. And he is the former chair of the IMAP 2017 that was held in Toulouse, France. And next to him, we have Gautier Hattenberger, who is the deputy chair in the IMAP 2017. He's an assistant professor at the French Civil Aviation University, INAC, in Toulouse, France. And as a member of the UAV research program, he is working on flight dynamics and control of micro UAVs, modeling and simulation, architecture of embedded systems, trajectory planning, and formation flight. And most of his work is based on the open source UAV systems Paparazzi, for which he is now one of the head developers. He graduated from French National Engineering School of Aeronautical Construction in 2004 and received his PhD degree at the Robotics Department of the Laboratory of Analysis and Architecture of Systems, LARS CNRS in Toulouse, for his work on formation flight control and planning of UAVs in 2008. So thank you, Gautier, for being here. And yeah, we have been hearing a lot about paparazzi in the last, yesterday and in the last talks today. And finally, I'm also happy to have with us Pascual Campoy. He is a full professor on automatics at the Universidad Politécnica Madrid, UPM, in Spain, where he lectures on control, machine learning, and computer vision. He has been visiting professor at the CSE department in TU Delft in the Netherlands from 2014 to 2019, and previously visiting professor at the Tongji University in Shanghai, China. In 2013, and QUT in Australia in 2011. He received his PhD in automatics and robotics at the Universidad Politécnica, Madrid, in 1988, where he previously received his master title in automatics engineering in 1983. He is leading the research group on computer vision and aerial robotics at UPM within the Center of Automatics and Robotics, CAR, whose activities are aimed at increasing the autonomy of the unmanned aerial vehicles by exploiting the powerful sensor of vision using cutting-edge technologies in image processing, control, and artificial intelligence. He has been heading director of over 40 research and development projects, including research and development European projects, national R&D projects, and over 25 technological transfer projects directly contracted with the industry. He's author of around 200 international scientific publications and 9 patents, 3 of them registered internationally. He is awarded in the top, or he has been awarded in the top international UAV competitions, IMAV 12, IMAV 13, IR 14, IMAV 16, and IMAV 17. He is a former chair, he was the general chair of the IMAV 2018, and he coordinated the international team that was awarded 3rd place in the Grand Challenge MB Cirque 2020. So thank you to all of them for being here. I will ask you to, first of all, before we go into questions, to share a bit of your experience with the IMAP that you had to organize. So I will stop sharing my screen just in case you want to share some small presentation or a video. So can we start with you, Guido? So please go ahead.
Sure. Let's start. So I'll share my screen. Now, I'd like you asked us to prepare a little bit. So yeah, so we organized the 2014 IMAV in Delft. TU Delft, if you don't know it, it's the oldest and largest Dutch public technical university. It's quite well ranked, and the picture is actually of the Faculty of Aerospace Engineering, which is also typically quite highly ranked. The TU Delft itself has 26,000 students and 6,000 employees. And it's typically beautiful weather, like on the picture. So no rain whatsoever. So yeah, at TU Delft, at the Faculty of Aerospace Engineering, we have the Micro Air Vehicle Laboratory. It was founded in around 2003, but there were already drone activities before that, actually. I put a few pictures of what we do because we do things like AI for swarming tiny drones, but we also make flapping wing drones that we also make autonomous, drone racing, and there's even a part of the lab that works on slightly larger drones, like the scale goes up from here to there, hybrid drones that can take off and land autonomously on ships. And also the control code for these hybrid drones. And so, yeah, we cover many aspects of micro air vehicles in our lab. So we've been involved quite a long time in participating in IMAV competitions. The first Delphi in 2005 was presented. That's basically one of the first IMAVs. And we also organized it a few times, actually. And the last time was in 2014, and I hope the video will work. I'm not sure you're going to hear the fancy music, though, so let's try that out. Okay, there's no music, but that's okay. And so in 2014, we had this idea to combine outdoor and indoor competitions. And so there was also an outdoor competition and an indoor competition. And here, actually, we arranged a testing village of the military, where we could fly outdoor, but the missions, if you wanted to get most points, the best thing would be to go from outdoor to indoor and then keep navigating there. This is a team from Singapore, by the way, and and this is a team from Aachen. They have become better and better at guiding that aircraft. And so we see many different teams. the idea was that a map should be made of the village. So yeah, you could do that with fixed wings, for example, and then combining images. But there were other elements like landing on a roof, flying into a building, forming a relay, a communication relay. And we had also a company filming the events. So they were flying even higher than the other ones. And so they were also filming the other drones, as you see, and some of which perhaps were falling. Yeah, so that also happened. This is one of the results. This is a beautiful ground station, paparazzi, I guess. And they needed, there was also a task where they needed to detect numbers live and then tell the ground station what number it was. The videos, by the way, it's only still a minute, but I think it's nice to see. This was 7 years ago, so it's quite long ago yet. And here you see somebody trying to enter the building. So at that time, we did allow also for FPV flying, because there was an FPV entry. But this is fully autonomous flight by the Singapore team, which you are seeing now, and also the landing on the roof. And so, there was a mix of autonomy, which was highly rewarded, of course, but also still some FPV flight going on. So, I think that kind of illustrates it well. We had precision landing. So the typical precision landing, right, that you flip around. But it is actually the drone that was used by the company to film everything. And so that was my car. No, I'm kidding. It's a completely destroyed car. Anyway, so that's the video. The competition outcome, National University of Singapore won. Actually, on the old website, it also said what they did. So image stitching, onboard number recognition, autonomous takeoffs. They did a lot of things well. And then a team from Germany, and then ENAC was third in that year. And we had, I think I will get the numbers soon, but I think we had 13 teams. As keynote speakers, we had Peter Muren from Prox Dynamics. So you may know Prox Dynamics because they make the Black Hornet, this really tiny helicopter. And it has to be said, Peter Muren showed off his first prototypes at IMAV. And people may not know this, but so Abraham Bachrach, who is behind Skydio, he presented his work first at IMAV. And also Ascending Technologies, they started with their products at IMAV, showing the control. And so, it's really curious who in the audience will be the next huge unicorn or whatever they call it. Okay, Eric Johnson from, he was at that time, he was still at Georgia Tech, but I put Penn State here because that's where he's now. And he was working with slightly larger helicopters, so the Yamaha RT Max or something. And then Sawyer Fuller was the third keynote speaker. He was at the time at Harvard University, and now he's a professor at the University of Washington. So at Harvard, he worked on the RoboBee, and that's what he talked about. And then it was still tethered, but one of the things that Sawyer did at the University of Washington is make this one, where they basically shine a laser on here, and then it can fly untethered. And so, there's also a lot of progress being made there. Okay. Statistics that were asked. So we had 262 participants, 39 scientific articles, and 13 competition teams. And that's it for me. So I must say the outdoor-indoor worked out quite well. How to stop sharing? Can somebody make me stop sharing?
You can go to the bottom of your screen. You should see the.
Oh, here. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Guido. That was a very nice presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go now with Professor Jean-Marc, please, if you would like to take the floor.
Actually, Gautier is going to make our presentations because we basically collaborated on that edition.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, maybe just share my screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so IMAV actually was organized at Toulouse by a cooperation between INAC and ISAE-SUPAERO 3 times. So in 2007, it was even not called IMAV, but MAV only. Then 2013 and 17. I will only give some details about the last 2 editions because it's, well, some more interesting. So for IMAV 13, the main focus at that time was the high level of autonomy, multiple UAV, and also the operability of the system. And we had 2 different scoring systems, and one putting the emphasis on autonomy and one putting the emphasis on the operability of the system, more or less the number of UAV you can fly compared to the number of operators that you need. And also make a focus on the autopilots and aircraft design, so system and frame design. You can see that we had the chance to fly for the outdoor in the actual real airfield, where INAC is operating some training, by the way. And the type of missions task were to do some precision navigation, search, fast track flying, precision landing, so some basic stuff. And for the indoor, going through windows, through obstacles, and again precision dropping and landing. We had 44 submitted papers, 12 kept as a scientific paper, and 19 as technical papers, and around 15 teams for indoor and outdoor all together. What we have seen at that time was quite good use of multiple drones by some teams, and especially the teams from TU Delft. They deployed something like 12 drones with a single operator. They didn't all go to the air or land quite roughly sometimes, but still that was quite impressive performance. And they won the outdoor competition. And some other teams, and actually the one from Pascual from Madrid, they flew several autonomous drones, air drones too, for the indoor mission, and they won the autonomy mission indoor. At that time, the computer vision was quite limited. So all the teams using vision, it was doing either FPV or feature detection, but of known objects like tags. And yeah, we have seen that with the scoring factors, that the being small was quite important. And for the operation mission, the TU Delft with their Delphi, so very small and light, they also get a very good scoring. For the IMAV 17 edition, the main focus were more or less the same. So always on aircraft efficient and innovative designs. So trying to push the aircraft and system design, because that's more or less what our institutes are specialized. Also try to push the small and light MAVs, because we are doing MAVs. So and again push a little bit further every aspects of autonomy in terms of decision or cooperation and image processing, including the multi-UAV cooperation. The type of mission elements, they were roughly the same, but with some new additions. Here you have some structure and unstructured obstacles, wind fans generating some disturbance and so on. And along the usual competition, we introduced some extra challenges. One was a treasure hunt to push the teams to innovate in terms of sensors. There were one for the formation flights trophy, so demonstrating the best formation flights, and that's also pushing the multi-UAV operation. One was a performance competition where you have to carry a given weight for a minimum of time with the smallest UAV possible. And I honestly don't remember the fourth one. For the conference, a little bit more papers, 63, 26 scientific papers, 15 technical papers. And what we can recall from the competition, so all the teams have pushed the vision-based and indoor navigation autonomy a bit further. So there were teams, including yours, Jose, using SLAM. So not always on board, but still not using extra external known tags. Or one team tried to use the ultra-wideband for localization, for instance. What we have seen is that most of the teams have enjoyed the extra challenges, and this is also a very good attraction for smaller teams, the one that don't have well, enough people or resources to compete for the podium of the regular competition, but they can still focus, for instance, here on the performance trophy or the Parade trophy. And also it starts to be really complicated to keep the correct balance between autonomy and design. It either goes to the computer science and image processing, AI or whatever, and the not the opposite, but another direction, which is the optimization of the performance, the integration of the autopilot, and so on. Those are two aspects that are really hard to balance in the scoring system to get a fair competition, I would say. And yeah, it was the first time, I think, that we have seen some collaborative flights. So I remember the fourth trophy, which was a collaborative carrying. So it was a wooden frame that has to be carried, that as many drones as possible, considering their size also, evidently, of course. Okay, so that's it for the presentation, but I think I found a small video here. So maybe this one is a bit long, but we can skip the end if needed.
Well, or maybe you would like to comment something additional while we see the video.
Well, actually, it shows how complex it is to prepare a competition. Because okay, it's complex to take part of the competition, but preparing it is a huge work. It's more than 1 year of preparation, and you need to accommodate for many aspects. You have to find people long time in advance, and on the day of the competition, students or colleagues to help. Here you have a clever way to get more points in the collaborative carrying. It was not explicitly told that the aircraft has to not touch the frame. So what is not forbidden is authorized, I guess.
Yeah, I remember that.
And okay, so and some teams actually only prepare for the extra challenges. and they put all their effort into that for the carrying. That was the case for RMIT. That was the case for the Moscow Institute. And well, in the case of INAC, we took part to the formation flights contest, not the competition. We were the main judges, so that's not really fair.
Yeah, I remember for that competition, the outdoors competition, there were these two poles.
Yeah,
and
so
like
the
quite
two
far
poles.
away. Yeah,
you have to
and
do some go and
have-
forth to prove your endurance.
exactly.
Yeah, we always try to keep this endurance aspects so that we don't see only quadcopters, but also some fixed wing, or at
Yeah.
least transitioning vehicles. Yeah, something which is really hard to find also for this kind of competition is a place which is large enough so people can fly on a large space and actually use flying wings or aircraft, let's say fixed wing aircraft, and not only quadcopters. This is quite hard to find and to get the authorization. And if it's too big, it's hard for the public to follow the competition. So the balance is not so so easy after all. And yeah, in that regard, I would say that the IMAV 14 at TU Delft with the village, the combat village, was one of the best place ever for the IMAV competition, mixing indoor, outdoor, and real life environments. Because if you look at the 13 edition or even the 17, the ground is more or less very flat, and that's not the most realistic flying condition for UAVs. You expect them to fly in mountains, close to the trees, close to the buildings and whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, and such a place is not easy to find.
Yeah, definitely. We found a very nice place here in my city for the IMAP 2020 when we were thinking of running the competitions. But well, unfortunately, we will have to wait. Professor Jean-Marc, before we pass the word to Pascual, would you like to add something?
Yeah, I would like, thank you, Gautier, and thank you all for the nice presentations. I would like to ask a couple of points. I really agree with Gautier about the role of those extra challenges, which are nice opportunities for to promote other things like endurance, design, not only robotics issues, but also, you know, to broaden the scope of what a micro air vehicle system is. It's not only controllers or navigation, it's also, you know, transmission, sensors. We all know that, but that's nice to have those extra challenges. Not only that, but it's also, I guess, a nice opportunity for the organizer to put their own, you know, original aspects forward, and that's nice too. You know, to give a kind of peculiar, original challenge like that. The other thing I remember, I learned from organizing those events was that it is very difficult to write rules, because organizing a competition means you want to win that competition, and that's nice and that's normal. And the first thing you have to do as a competitor is to learn by heart the rules, because to try to understand what is the good strategy to win more points. And that objective is not always exactly the same as the objective that you had in mind when you start writing rules, and you said, okay, we want to promote the scientific community to work along that direction. And so that's just maybe an advice for all of us for future events, to take time to write rules in a proper way so that you will see what you really want to see. And that's always difficult. I think we all had the same experience in the past. And one thing I would like to add is that we, as in other events, we organized a virtual competition, which was, at that time, it was not driven by the pandemic. It was because we thought it would be nice to have that virtual competition, not only if the weather was not very good, so we have indoor competition plus a virtual competition. Not only that, but also because it is a good way to promote quite a lot of preparation work, like to send a message that before going to the airfield, you really need to simulate, to understand, to figure out where the obstacles are, and that was really helpful. I think at the beginning, I was not so in favor of that, but I must admit that I learned a lot from those virtual events as well. And again, I agree with Gautier that it is nice to continue promoting not only multi-rotors, but also different kind of design, because there are different solutions for different missions. And I like the way that IMAV is a place where people for different fields, aeronautical engineers, from electrical engineering departments, for different departments or different technical departments, they can they can get together and they can have something to share. And that is really something that is specific to IMAV, and I wish this will continue in the future.
Great, thank you, Professor. Definitely something we have to push and to keep in the IMAV events. So without any more delays, let me pass the word to Pascual, so he has also some time to share his experience, and then we can discuss a little bit more about these ideas. Please, Pascual, if you can go, Professor Pascual.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you, and good afternoon and good evening to everyone. So we in Madrid, in Spain, we were the last before the pandemic time that IMAV was real face-to-face competition, face-to-face paper presentation, face-to-face people networking and knowing each other. We were very, very happy at this time that the next one were going to be in Mexico, that we were going to meet there. And so that's what we have now. So that we are meeting as we are meeting. So, but we hope that we take again the presential IMAV, that is more interesting because of everything, because of the human factor, because of the face-to-face knowing people, and because of the competitions that are. So I also agree with Jean-Marc that the simulation is a very, very interesting way of competing, but also real flights. We don't have to forget that we are preparing our teams, we are preparing our algorithms, we are preparing everything for going to the real life. So I have a short summary of what we did just a couple of months before the pandemic, and I'm going to share the screen. Okay, and let's go in the presentation. Yeah, the IMAV 2019 was located in Madrid, in Spain, and we choose one of the applications in which drones can be useful, and we choose in this case to use it for logistic. I mean, there are several. Traditionally in IMAV, we have always been thinking of more civil applications as the military applications, more visual inspection, or more search and rescue, or more things like this. more no, a little bit far from military. And there are many, the military, they have a lot of money. They push a lot the science, the algorithms, but we believe, and it's not that we believe, we are sure that now we have an explosion of civil applications with drones, and we are pushing in this way. We choose to have the logistic as the main motto of this year, and we went for the indoor competition. Indoor competition was in the middle of Madrid. This is the old building in which we have our faculty, our college, and we built a whole warehousing application with inventory and also with delivery of packages. And we have to search for certain packages, to have an inventory. I mean, to know where the packages are situated, where they are located within the warehouse, and to pick some of them and to deliver them to where they should be. I'm going to mix some of the figures of the competition of the whole IMAV with the presentation. So we had 10 teams from 8 different countries, and of course we had 3 winners. We went to the outdoor competition. That is also very challenging. It's also related with logistic, that we were transporting several packages or several items to certain places, and that was close to Madrid in the outdoors. We had also the same amount of teams and the same amount of countries, although they were not exactly the same. So we had all together, we have an overlap of several teams, but it's not a full overlap of all of them. We had conferences, papers. We selected 30 papers. 6 of them were nominated for the special and best paper award. We had 2 special issues, one from the IMAV and one from the US, from the managed systems. And here are the topics in which all the different papers were clustered. We have, the first, system modeling and simulation, autonomy, also another mistake, autonomy of UAVs, industrial challenges. This is very interesting to have this, to see what are the different applications of what we are developing of the drones, intelligent navigation, the design of the UAVs, the perception of UAVs, and the flight control. These are the topics in which finally all the papers were clustered. We have 4 keynotes, a little bit of everything. That we have Airbus. What is the future, according to Airbus? What is the future of urban mobility using drones? We have also another keynote from the Spanish Research Institute in Aeronautics, for an important person there who was telling us where was the direction of this research. We have a very, very, very interesting keynote from a person who has been mentioned during several times. That is David Escaramuza in University of Zurich, telling us what is the future, what is his opinion or his point of view of the future of drone racing. And finally, we have another keynote regarding the European framework of regulations for the drones. And we have also a visit to the Aeronautics Museum in Madrid. I have to mention also the sponsors. The sponsor, we have 3 kinds of sponsors. We didn't achieve really to have many of them. We have the platinum, some of them that were traditional in the previous IMAV. They were not with us, but I have to thank a lot the Spanish post office, company, which is Correos, who was the main platinum sponsor, also the gold sponsors, the Air Force Office of Scientific Research, who was also a gold sponsor, Parrot, who was also sponsoring, Airbus, and Aura. They were the four main, after the platinum one, the four main sponsors of the competition. And we have also another silver sponsor, Big Grace, who had a stand there, who was able to show all the participants, attendees, how the system is working in indoors. I have two videos and a picture. I go to the picture first. This is the final picture that we have at the end. We're all hoping to see you in Mexico, and still waiting for this opportunity. I have a couple of videos from the indoor and outdoor. They are not very long, so if you want to have an idea of what, can you hear the sound or not? Sound is possible to no.
No, we cannot hear it.
You cannot hear. Okay, so I don't know how to manage to do this. So
It's nice like
that
this
could
as
be.
well.
So then, in this case, some of the interesting things not done by this person, these are not very interesting, but some of the words that they worth to be listened to. We are not going to do this. I'm locally hearing or listening to the sound. This is the indoor competition, the outdoor competition, and these are several moments for both. This is keynotes, the trip to the outdoor competition, and explaining what was done there. Was, as I have said already, there was more focus on the package delivery, and it was also fixed wings, rotary wings, so hybrid vehicles. Yes, Guido explaining more, I think, more the whole IMAV competitions rather than this particular one. Some of the outdoors package delivery this time was in the right place. And this is the people who share the flying arena for us in the outdoor competition, and inviting to have a new one, and we don't know when it's going to be possible to have it. Some details on the outdoors, and this is more. This video was more focused on the outdoor. I have another video more focused on the indoor, but I'm going to skip it because if the sound is not, I'm going to go very, very fast because we got through the video because we cannot hear what is being said. Here you have several aspects of teams taking part in this competition. We had a texture floor in order to make things a little bit easier. This is one of the things that can be discussed for the future. And that's all. That's the whole presentation of what I in the numbers, in the figures, I have put the figures of the teams, the figures of countries. I don't have the exact, I was looking for the exact numbers of participants. I couldn't find it, but it's more than 500, more than 150 and less than 200. That's for sure. That's in between this range. We're between 150 and 200. And if you have questions.
Thank you, Pascual, and thank you to all of you. We still have some time, and maybe we could take an extra 5 minutes if you have the time. So I would like to ask the public if they have any questions. Maybe if Oyuki help us to see the social networks to find out whether there is somebody in the audience asking something. If not, I will take the opportunity to ask you something. Maybe we don't have much time to do a long discussion, but I was thinking that, and after all what you have presented, can we stop your screen?
I was trying to, sorry.
You go to the bottom? Yeah, there we are.
Okay,
so we can have
I was
everybody.
trying to, I hope no, it was not any secret email there.
No, no worries.
It was in Spanish, so it was okay for me.
It was in Spanish, some of them.
It was encoded. Okay, so there was one thing that I was thinking while all of you presented your experience on the IMAV event, and also after the discussion we had yesterday with Simon Watkins and Ben Chen. When we decided to go to the IMAV personally with my Mexican team, at that time we just got some funding and we got our drones, and as you know we are more oriented to the robotics field. But I knew IMAP because when I did my PhD in Bristol, I got to know Tom Richardson, who presented this morning. And I remember that one day when I was looking at his publications, I saw the name of the conference, and that stayed in my mind. So once I was in Mexico, when I came back to Mexico, I don't know how I bumped into the conference again. I think that was 2016, China. So they released the call for papers and competitions. And then I thought, oh yeah, I remember this. And I was curious. And I think Ben and his team, they did quite a nice work in publicizing the event because they had this very nice video. So then, well, we decided to apply and we went to the competition, and it was a very nice experience. And it has been since then. But at that time, and right now, I am thinking that all of you were quite bold in organizing this type of competition because it requires a lot of work. And apart from that, you don't offer money as a prize. And when you compare it to other competitions, similar competitions like TARPA, for instance, or more recently the MB Cirque, the one that Pascual participated, they offer huge amounts of money, and maybe that compensates for the amount of effort that teams have to put into, right? So having said all of that, because when we went to the competition as a junior team, we went because we were excited to go to China and we wanted to get to know all of this technology, not really because of the money. It was more like a scientific and technical thing. But having said all of that, what do you think is going to be the future of the IMAP competition and of course the conference when you compare it against this type of, or these other competitions that are also very attractive, and Alpha Pilot offer a lot of money as well. So what could you tell us about that if you can? So please, whoever, who wants to start? Whoever wants to do it.
Yeah, so I think it's a very interesting remark. I would also be interested actually to know what the people attending the conference think. So yeah, personally, IMAV, I see it as a conference and competition. So really an exchange of ideas. And indeed, some of the people coming typically are like a bit more perhaps science oriented. Others are involved in the competition, but it makes for a very nice atmosphere in which people learn from each other. And it's not like super competitive in the sense like we don't want to say anything about our technology because then you may win and get this money. And so it's, I like this kind of exchange. Of course, it's obvious that there's a competition between these competitions in a sense, because if you have a lab and you want to do a competition, then yeah, it's a choice between, okay, do we try to join, I don't know, DARPA or something else, and then have a chance to win a lot of money, or do we join IMAV? And basically, then in advance, you will not win money. And so that I do realize, but yeah.
Thank you, Guido. Who else would like to comment on this?
Yeah, I have participated in both. In IMAV, I have participated several times since 2012 was the first time, 2000 next year, and so on. We have participated several times. Once we have also participated in the Ambassador. This is a very, very high rewarded competition, and we got the third prize, but in the grand challenge, but we didn't get any money for that. So no, we got the money for participating. So we were in fact sponsored for participating only, and we were almost covering our participation. That was good. That was one of the reasons for going, because we had enough money for taking part on it. So what to say or in which to participate? Of course, in both. IMAV competition is, yeah, the thing. The big difference, not only the money that they supply for the people, but another thing is the amount of UAVs and ground vehicles, and in this case, in this new embassy competition, is going to be also surface, so water surface vehicles, autonomous vehicles. So also we have to bring also robotic arms. So the whole scenario that we have to carry is much more bigger and much more expensive. So indeed, that is one of the reasons, because if they don't put money on these other competitions, perhaps they are not going to have so many people, because these are very, very costly. But in IMAV competition, so since this is a micro vehicle system, micro, that means that you can perhaps bring with you in the airplane, and it's not going to force you to spend a lot of money, at least in transporting and also in the vehicles that you are using. And that's why this is one of the reasons that you can participate in IMAV without. IMAV can be like having money for going to conferences. Do you have money in your team for going to conference? This is one conference in which you can not only present a paper, so that you can also demonstrate how things works in reality. So IMAV is very, very challenging, and there are not many UAVs competitions. In fact, so IMAV is a good choice.
Thank you, Pascual. Who else wants to go for this? Gautier.
Yes. I would say that IMAV is trying to find the correct balance between pure student competition and top researcher competition with high price and notoriety or whatever. So it means that it's more or less focusing PhD students and young researcher. And this is, I think, rewarding for PhD students if they can put a little part of their work during this early research life into practice, and the kind of tasks and missions that we ask. It's not easy, but it's not looking for outstanding performance either. And usually you can bring a little bit of what you are doing, and that could be swarming, and like for TU Delft, and their students, Kimberly, work on the small drones and get many points from that. So and we did the same, more or less. So I think this level of competition is not that usual. Of course, it requires some time, energy, a little bit of money to prepare, but it's not always demanding for very expensive materials. And basically, as Pascual said, if you have enough money to send 5, 6 people to a conference, which is already a lot, and to put some extra money into basic frames and so on, then you can compete if you are ready to put the time and energy. And again, for certain researcher or students, PhD students, that can be highly rewarding.
Thank you, Gautier. And last but not least, please, Professor Jean-Marc.
Yeah, I agree with Gautier and the fact that it has to stay open to students, because it's also a very good way to educate our students to take part in a conference and in a competition. So it means that also for the conference, it's nice to have maybe students presentations or posters, or some to accommodate some room for them, and so that you don't have on one side the high level conference for advanced or senior researchers, and on the other side competition for students, but they can go to both places, and that is really important to me. Also, the question of putting a very big prize on a competition, the drawback I can see with that is you usually end up with a very professional team, which is going to select the most robust choices, not necessarily the most interesting in terms of advanced techniques, or you don't want to take risk. You want to grab a lot of points, and okay, that's another perspective. I think that it is nice with IMAV that we have a university perspective, like it's an academic atmosphere. And the nice thing I like in IMAV is that people tend to help each other, and they give a small electronic component that is when you come from Europe to Mexico, or from Mexico to Europe, okay, you have to you are happy to have some help from other people there, and I would be. I'm afraid that if you put too much money on the table, maybe people will tend to, we might lose that nice atmosphere. That's my concern.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's something that I thought as well, because at the end of the day, it becomes like, I can imagine that teams who want to participate, they see it as an investment. They need to put money to win more money. I mean, there is nothing wrong with that, but then the pressure is different, right? So there is an academic pressure to get, to show things. I remember once actually Guido told me that, I think in the Imap 2017, that he said, we are very interested in showcasing what we are doing here, rather than talking about, oh, we want to win. It's so badly we want to win that, and that stayed with me as well. So when you have this idea of, we have to invest a lot to win a lot, then yeah, I can imagine that people get a lot of pressure. So we are running out of time, but I don't want to stop here. I would like to hear a bit more of what do you think are the next steps for the IMAP, or if you have a message that you want to share. I think we can take a few more minutes. So please, we start with you, Guido, if you want to comment something. Please.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with COVID, yeah, last year canceled, this year virtual. So yeah, my main hope is, yeah, that next year perhaps we will have perhaps a physical venue. Yeah, and that we will do these competitions again, because yeah, like Pascual said, it's showing it also in the real world is very nice, and especially new designs or possibilities for drones. Not necessarily winning, but showing indeed interesting new ideas that actually work. And so my main thought, I guess, at the end of this session is that I hope that we will have physical events again, and perhaps hybrids, so that more people can follow it. That is nice, but at least also a real world part. So that's I think my final remark.
Great, thank you, Guido. Please, Pascual. Your microphone is off.
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry. I have nothing to add. I mean, only I agree that the most important thing is to have a physical interaction. We are all looking forward to this. And another thing, but this is my point of view. Another probably thing is to focus it in real applications, but perhaps not everybody agrees, because perhaps some people, they think that research in more things that without an immediate application that can be also nice. So this is not very spread. I mean, I don't know how spread it is, but it's not spread overall. I mean, perhaps you can focus more in research, or you can be focused more in real applications. I would try at least to have some part of the IMAV to have a real applications that we can see that drones can move quick to the real industry.
Thank you, Pascual. I think I agree with you on that. I think applications are very nice to drive the development, but I also think that is the reason why I think IMAP is a very nice event, because maybe we are not very sure what type of application we could solve if we propose certain solution. And once somebody told me that if you offer something that nobody has done, but then they like it, then it will stay with you, right? Like the mobile phone. Nobody needed a mobile phone, but now we have it and we don't want to get rid of it. So I guess that is also a motivation, that to try to do something that people don't know that they wanted, but once they have it, it stays. And I guess that is not very difficult to think of for drones, for small drones, you know, like what for do we need tiny drones? And I think there is still something to come to offer, like a product that people will want it. So yeah, that's very nice. Look at this balance, and you are quite right as well. So please, Gautier, if you want to share your final remark or thought.
Yes, thanks. From my own experience, IMAV competition, also conference, but also mainly competition, was important occasions to put a hard deadline on technological improvements. And this is something which is very important to gather a team with a common goal. And yeah, every time we have participated to IMAV for the following months, we have been pushing many improvements to the code base of Paparazzi, for our case, which is clearly showing that this is an opportunity to develop new things, new technologies, new ideas, and also to bring people together, even in your own team.
True. Thank you, Gautier. And finally, please, Professor Jean-Marc.
No, I just say that is very true. I mean, the thing is that the community can get together with the same the same time frame, and that is really important, because nowadays in the research activity we have many deadlines, different deadlines, and once in a while with IMAV we have all over the world the same deadline to meet, and that is really nice. I think I like that point. I mean, thank you, Gautier, for pointing out this, because this is really important to get together at the same time and hopefully at the same place, if we can again maintain a real event in the future. That would be nice.
Thank you, Professor. I think, yeah, everybody wishes that. And with that last message, I would like to thank all of you for this very nice panel discussion. I think all what you have shared with us, it has been very nice, very interesting, and I hope that motivates the audience to keep an eye on the IMAP, on the future IMAP events. And of course, we are looking forward to have an IMAP with competitions. And yeah, maybe a mixture of a hybrid event where we may have some competitions in simulation and then physical competitions. It was in 2017 where you used gazebo, right? I think I remember for the virtual competition.
It was the more or less the same competition than the indoor, but virtual.
Yeah, but virtual.
What was the initial idea was that teams could prepare the indoor competition with the virtual environments. And unfortunately, we were so late at providing the correct frame that, okay, some people did the virtual and some people did the indoor, but not both. So if you do that, you have to do it very, very early. So you have to be prepared very early.
Yeah, but I remember because we wanted to do that as well. But as you said, we had to choose in between preparing for the physical thing and learning gazebo, because at that time we didn't know how to use gazebo. Now we do it. So and for this IMAP, we thought of launching a virtual competition, but it's quite a lot of work as well. So, and we ran out of time. But yeah, that was a very nice thing to do. And there are other competitions like the Game of Drones that was organized by Microsoft, where they use RC. And their argument was to say, let's forget about, just for a little bit, let's forget about the physical drone and try to focus more on artificial intelligence to try to address this problem, which I thought was nice. But the reality, and Guido is here, who has been participating in this autonomous drone racing, reality matters a lot. Like, at least for autonomous drone racing, you really need to know what's going on with the real world. And I think for the type of competitions with IMAP as well, the real scenarios are quite important, right? But yeah, you can always test your initial algorithms with these simulators and then hope that they will work in the real world. Okay, well, I wish we could have more time with all of you. I think it has been a privilege for me to host this session and to have this opportunity to talk to you, to share these experiences. And as the general chair of this IMAP 2021, I'm really humbled to know what we could have done, because really you put a high standard in the competitions and the conference, and we wanted to do something like that, but well, we have to live with this situation and maybe hope for the best in the future. Thank you to all of you, and thank you to the public. So see you in the conference, hopefully, if you stay around, in the future events.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.